Welcome to our next unit, which discusses readers and context of use. In any situation, knowing your readers is vitally important. Today, most people are busy and don't have a tremendous amount of time to slog through information that they don't need. Therefore, as a writer, you must find out what your readers need to know and how they want that information presented. The first step in this process is to develop a reader profile. In order to do this, you need to find the answers to several different questions. The first questions are, who are your readers and what do they need? You also need to ask, where will they be reading? Will they be reading the document in bed, as this dog is doing, or might they be reading it in the office, on their iPhone, in a car? So where they are reading it is a physical context that you need to be concerned with. You also need to know, when will they be reading it? Immediately? After a couple of days? This could be anything, but you need to think about the who, what, when, and then we're going to talk a little bit more in the next one about the whys. So hang on. We're going to look at why will they be reading it? How will they be reading it? Once you understand your readers and some of the context that they will be using the document in, you need to create a reader profile a little bit more in depth. So what you're looking at here is the reader's tendencies, the reader's abilities, and the reader's experiences. You also need to consider the reader's needs, values, and attitudes. While you are asking all of these questions, don't forget that today's readers do not read every single word. Rather, they are raters for information. They will skim your document and read only what is meaningful for them. Another thing to remember here is that readers are wholly responsible for interpreting your text. You're not going to be there to answer their questions, so you need to make sure that what you have written is clear, concise, and easy for them to understand. Again, let me reiterate that readers only want need-to-know information. Do not bog them down with information that is not necessary to make a decision. Readers prefer concise text. In professional writing, the shorter, the better. Readers also prefer documents with graphics and effective page design. It's very important that you chunk your information into meaningful, small chunks of information with headlines to show the reader exactly where different information is when they're skimming the document. So graphics, page design are vitally important in any kind of professional writing. All right, now that we've talked about what readers like and don't like, let's take a look at the different types of readers that you're going to encounter in the workplace. When you create a document, you must keep in mind that each one of these readers is going to look at that document. So you have no idea where the document may end up. It may not end with the person to whom you send it. So let's take a look at the different types of readers. The primary readers are the action takers. They are the ones that will be making the decisions. The secondary readers are their advisors. They're the people to whom the primary reader will go for advice regarding the project. The tertiary readers are the ones who will evaluate the project. They might not be completely involved in making a decision, but they would give legal advice, they might give financial advice, or find other reasons. So this might be the lawyers and the accountants that might be looking at this as well. And finally, the gatekeepers or the supervisors. They are the ones who will have the final say on whether or not the project is approved. So you really need to think of all of these types of readers as you create your document. So now we need to look at their needs, their values, and their attitudes. Some of the questions that will help you guide you in this decision here are such things as, are your readers familiar with the subject? What is their experience with this type of proposal? What is their educational level? And what is their reading level? Those are all things that you need to consider. You also need to consider the reader's values. What do they value the most? Is it accuracy? Is it profit? Are they environmentally conscientious? Do they like dealing with social issues? Those are the kinds of questions that you need to ask yourself about your readers, because they're important facts to find out before you begin your document. Readers' attitudes are also important. You need to look at what your attitudes of your readers are towards you, towards your company, and towards the subject of the document. Context of use is important. That has three different components. There's the physical context, which basically is where are they going to read it, when are they going to read it, how are they going to read it, those kinds of questions that just relate to physically. Are they going to be reading it on a phone? Are they going to be reading it on their computer? Are they going to have a hard copy of it? Are they going to be in a meeting where they're presenting it to other people? That's the physical context. The economic context is, what is it going to cost? What are the profits? What is the money that I'm going to have to put out? And what is the economic climate in the country? What is the economic climate in the company? Is the company doing well, or are they struggling? Those are the kinds of economic context or constraints that the document is going to have to deal with. And finally, there's political and ethical context. What's going on in the world that might affect this because of something that's going on politically or ethically. A good example of this might be if you were doing a project on oil drilling in the Gulf. What is the political climate now since the BP spill? What are you ethically bound to do to make sure something like this doesn't happen again? So context of use is very important. The last issue to think about when you're talking about your readers, which we mentioned a little bit in the last lesson, is the cross-cultural aspect. We do live in a global economy. We live in a global workplace. So chances are you're going to be dealing with people of another culture at some time in your career. How can you improve cross-cultural communication? You can listen carefully to what they're saying. You can be polite. You can research that culture so that you don't make any unintentional snafus that might be insulting to these people. And you might talk to your colleagues who may have dealt with them before or who are a part of that culture. So those are ways that you can effectively deal with cross-cultural communication. So thanks for watching this video, which outlines the major concepts presented in Unit 2. Make sure that you take a look at the presentation on rhetoric. It's one of the review assignments, because we will be talking about the use of persuasion and persuasive techniques in designing documents. And I think a review of logos, ethos, pathos, kairos, and some of the other rhetorical terminology will help you in this unit. So I hope you have a great day, and we'll be talking to you later.